Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome back to the Rice Guys podcast. We're nice guys who like rice because we have to. I'm your host, Mark, and today I'll be joined by Joe and Ben.
Yeah, what's up? How
Up?
you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. It's been about a week since we've recorded, and yeah,
Anything happen? Anything interesting to this week?
just doing some work here and there, and got some uni applications coming up.
Oh
Mhm.
boy. Yeah, okay. Anyways, let's get on with our topic. Today we're gonna talk about the Asian Canadian experience. So yeah, Asian Canadian experience. I am personally Korean. My mother and father, they're both pure Koreans. They
Ah,
immigrated over here, and I was born in Canada. So basically, I am an Asian Canadian. Yeah.
so we're playing What Asian Are You?
Yeah.
Okay.
What Asian are
Okay,
you?
Ben, what Asian are you?
I am a Japanese Canadian. I was born in Japan, but basically spent my whole life in Canada. Lived in Montreal for the first like 7 years, then moved to Vancouver here, and yeah, I don't know. It's kind of iffy as to what I kind of which side I really
Oh, so you're
side
you're
with.
half.
Yeah, half yes.
Ah, okay, okay.
Father French Canadian,
Oh,
mother Japanese.
okay.
Um, yeah.
All right. I guess it just leaves me. I'm 100% Chinese, you know. I was born in Canada though, grew up here my entire life. I've never moved. I've lived in this house for 17 years now. Um,
Oh, damn.
yeah, really long time. Same neighborhood, nothing's really changed. Uh But yeah, some people don't believe me when I say I'm 100% Chinese.
Why
I
not?
I
believe you.
think you two do, but
Yo, wait, why not?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I look, you know, really Asian, but
Yeah, yeah. Well,
right. Anyways, yeah, confuses me. So, you can never tell what other people are thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
Fair enough. I think I look pretty Asian, you know. People sometimes mistaken me for being Chinese, maybe Japanese.
I did that once.
Yeah, but most people know I'm Korean. I
That
actually know a lot of people mistaken me for being Chinese.
I don't
Don't know why.
actually, now that I know you're Korean, I don't see you like at all as Chinese anymore. I can kind of see the Korean in you. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
actually
like,
find that interesting.
no, lots of people don't have exposure to actual Korean people, you know? And
Speaking
we
of
just
Korean
get
people, another Korean person is joining us right now. Let's welcome Moon.
Oh, I'm
Hello.
talking. Yes, hello.
This is Moon.
Ah, yay.
yo,
Everyone say
welcome
hi.
Moon, fellow
Yay.
Korean.
Oh, I'm American, actually.
Well,
But
tell us more about your ethnicity.
Ethnicity, well, technically I'm Korean, but I mean, I call myself American because I was born in US,
uh-huh.
and I
Oh,
feel like there's like, I have more advantages if I call myself American rather than Korean.
And why is
oh,
that?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain this, but when you apply to like US schools, it feels like US schools are looking for like Americans more than Asians. It feels
But
like,
like you state do you
yeah.
state your ethnicity as American? Well, obviously not, right?
Well, obviously not, but my nationality is American.
Well,
mm,
our nationalities are all Canadian though. So,
that's
Oh,
true.
actually, I'm not Canadian.
well,
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
not
obviously
like
not.
the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. So you're Korean, but you were born in America,
Mm-hmm. And it's
and you grew up there too?
well, no.
Where'd you
It's-
grow up?
No, I I mostly grew up in Canada, obviously. I think approximately like 12 years in Canada.
Oh,
What's the
okay.
story? What happened to the other few years?
Other few years are like combination of like China and Korea
You were in
because of my
China.
yeah.
Oh,
How's
Oh,
that?
I do not remember. That was like back when I was 3 years old.
What about
okay.
Korea?
Korea is like it's difficult to explain because I didn't live there for like consecutive years. It was more like I was like when I was a baby, after I was born in like Hawaii, I moved back to Korea and lived there for like 3 years. But then, no, actually 2 years. And then I moved to China, and then I came back to Korea. But then I left uh, to study in Canada, and then I went back to Korea because I had a problem with visa a few years
Mm,
ago.
makes sense.
So it's kind of like if someone asked me like um what do you remember from like Korea, it's really hard to talk about because the most recent memory is like elementary school because I've
Okay.
been there for like 2 years.
Okay. Fair enough. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have. I had a question to ask you, Moon. Do you feel like you're more American or Canadian, or do you feel more Asian in terms of ethnicity, like culturally?
Culturally, definitely more Asian than American, but um, I feel like it's a combination of both
Of
because
course, because you grew up
yeah, I
here.
did grow up here, but culture wise, it's definitely more Asian because I do not have Netflix. It might be shocking for some of you guys to
Not really.
find. Oh,
No, I
actually,
don't have
okay.
Netflix either.
Oh, wait. Do you guys even have Netflix? Like any of you guys?
No.
Yeah, I have Netflix.
Oh, well, I don't have Netflix, and I only watch like Korean kind of shows, TV shows, and drama like since like elementary.
Oh,
So
That's interesting.
culture aspect is purely Asian, but the way I think and approach things is probably more American than Asian.
how so?
Because there's a kind of like a stereotype of like Asian people being more conservative and like Americans being more like non conservative.
I guess like in a sense for that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just look at America right now. They're pretty split into two.
Yeah, they're
But
divided.
I can get what you mean. So you're more
The forward thinking.
forward thinking, and Asian people are definitely not as forward thinking as
Yeah,
most
some of
people.
us are quite traditional. Yeah. Okay, okay. How about Ben? Do you feel like you're more Canadian or you're more Asian, like culturally?
Honestly, have no idea. Well, it's like it's more Canadian because I'm living here and I
Mm-hmm.
live here and this is what I speak English, what eight times out of 10 times during the day, like 80% of the time,
Yeah.
and the only time that I would speak Japanese is with my mother or some people that I know like Japanese with here. So in that sense, I guess it'd be more Canadian, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which side I would side because I've got like really like Asian friends, but then I also
Mm-hmm.
have like really like Canadian like non-Asian friends,
So like
and
what
like I
kind of Asian friends?
like like Korean, Japanese, Chinese. Like I have those people, but then I have like white friends like that I hang out with a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I am kind of like split down the middle. I don't really
All
know
right.
which side I'm on.
Okay, so then let's play a game. Let's play a game. We're gonna judge you on 5 things, and you get to choose either Canadian or Asian.
What about in
Um,
between?
in between.
We'll see what the questions are then.
Okay, so yeah, maybe in between. You have 5 questions. So question 1. Have you been to your country of origin?
I was born there, so yes.
Yes. Okay. So you get 1 Asian point for that.
Okay.
Question 2. Who do you correlate with more? It doesn't matter if you correlate with
What does
both
correlate?
people.
What do you mean by correlate?
Like are you
interact?
friends with more Asian people or are you friends with more Canadian people? Like just regular.
Like
I'm gonna go
non-Asian
with-
people.
Non-Asian, yeah.
I'm gonna go with Asians.
Okay. So that's 2 points for Asian. Music taste. Do you listen to
Oh,
like...
Asian, absolutely.
Okay.
None of the music that I listen to is English.
Okay. So that's another 8. Okay, food.
I don't think you even have to ask that question.
Asian. What? What is white food? Hamburgers.
Okay, reading and writing.
Well, that'd be English because I go to school in English.
How about
Okay.
read,
Why
write,
also
and speak?
ask?
How about all 3?
Oh yeah, read, write, and speak. Like, or but can you read, write, and speak Japanese?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah,
But
I
I
go
think you'd automatically probably land on
like-
Canadian for this side.
yeah, just because of I go to school here. Yeah,
So it's like 4-1.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So
All right. So Ben is officially more Asian than Canadian.
it's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Mark, how about you?
Me?
Do you feel more culturally Canadian or Asian?
Well, honestly, it's a pretty hard question. I ask myself this question a lot of the times, and it's like it really depends on where I am, who I'm with,
Mm.
what I'm doing, right? Say when I'm like, I don't know, playing hockey, right?
Oh yeah, you're definitely more Canadian.
My slang, like Canadian slang just goes crazy. A gets thrown out like left and right. Bud is used multiple times in the same
Hi, bud.
sentence. No, stop. Anyways, but
Okay, then
say
then-
then I go hang out with my Asian friends and I'm speaking Chinese with them. Like it's like I'm still struggling as to like what I identify with more because I'm really ingrained in both the cultures. And that's why I
That's
asked
true.
you if I could choose both because
Okay.
yeah. But on this game, we'll play it, okay?
Okay. So in this game, you have 5 questions. A, have you been to your country of origin?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's a solid yes. People you're friends with.
Like closer friends with and then it's like overwhelmingly Asian, like
Overwhelmingly Asian. Okay.
yeah. If
okay.
it's people who I know and I'm like acquainted with, then it's honestly half and half.
Okay. How about music taste?
This one is like right down the middle,
Right down the middle.
straight
All
down
right.
the middle. Maybe
So we got
honestly, maybe
2
more
Asian-
English leaning, to be honest.
More English leaning. Okay,
Yeah.
then we're gonna give it to the English. So that's 2 Asian, 1 English. Food.
Food, Asian food.
Asian food.
What
Okay,
English-
so 3 Asian, 1 English. Reading and writing
I just
and speaking.
I can read, write, and speak Chinese, but I really don't have the opportunity to ever, and I'd rather not, because
Okay.
my reading and writing, or I mean, just my writing is just not good enough. So
Huh,
this one's
okay.
kind of automatic.
I guess do you have any opportunity to practice that when you're here? Because like, for example, like I go to like a Japanese curriculum school like every week, but
Huh.
so I have the opportunities like read, write, and that kind of stuff. But like, do you ever have like an opportunity
Yeah,
to like,
I mean, I used to before the pandemic, go to
Ah.
a it's like supplementary Chinese class or whatever to just
Oh, okay.
learn the language, speak it, right? But like where I've learned the most reading and writing is when I've been in China for a longer periods of time where there is no English. And then I came
Yeah.
back here and I was like, wow, I missed this.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
now
So,
it's your turn, Joe.
all right.
So
So,
question 1. What was it again? Have you been to your country of origin?
okay. So I would say no because I don't remember it. I went once when I was like a couple months old for
Fair.
like a couple days, and
That's
I
fair.
do not remember it at all. So I would say no. I've never been. Well, I never experienced my country of origin.
Okay, 1-0. Next, people you correlate with.
Okay, so the interesting thing about people I correlate with, I think it's kind of unfair to split it between Asian, Canadian, and those two. Because I feel like in a sense there's almost like three categories. There's like
Well, you can't just bend the rules now.
yo,
Like,
okay, no, but like just hear me out. Just hear me out. Like
like
okay, there's like
I agree, but like I answered in terms of just
yeah,
like
okay.
purely
Just
ethnicity or like.
okay, if I'm answering purely ethnicity, it's Asian.
Uh-huh.
But if we okay, there's the Asians, like they're culturally Asian. They're like the fobs, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's like the Canadian Asians, like guys like me. And then there's like the non-Asians, right?
Yeah.
And
To anybody that doesn't know what fob means, it's like fresh off the boat. Basically, people that have just come from like their mainland. So
And
anybody that's
usually
like
they have
just
a lot of money. A
yeah,
lot.
yeah. That's what fobs mean. But yeah, keep going.
yeah, so in that sense, my most predominant association is the Canadian Asians, you know? I
Out of
find
all
it
three
really
categories, out
difficult
of all
to relate.
three.
Yeah, I find out of all three, I find it really, really difficult to relate with fobs or just people who are so ingrained in the Asian culture, you know?
True. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I
definitely do
can.
have a few friends who are like that, but it's not nearly as many like Asian Canadian people.
So my community would be definitely Asian Canadian because it's hard to relate with people who grew up in a different world, you know?
Yeah,
Wait,
that never works out.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Joe,
So
Joe, I have a question.
yeah.
I'm buzzing in, but where do you exactly draw the line between Canadian Asian and Asian Asian? Because like
Um.
I'm also kind of like American Asian, but I view depending on the person, someone can view me as Asian Asian because I love Asian culture, but other person can
Well,
view me as
I'll
American Asian.
I'll help you with that question. And
Okay.
um well, these like so-called fobs, they don't really speak a lot of you know how we all said, okay, we speak English all the time. Most of the time, fobs will only talk with other fobs, and they're only speaking their mother language, which could be, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. They only
Yeah.
write to each other. They text each other in the language. They write each other in that language, and I think that's the biggest determining factor is their comfortability with like Western culture, because most of the times fobs have little to no comfortability with Western culture, and you can really feel it.
So like, if you would rather speak Korean than English or Chinese than English, and if you you know,
If you make an
it's just
effort to speak it all the time,
yeah.
I
What if
That's
you
what
really
I
don't
would
have a
consider.
preference? Because, like, for my case, if someone asks me, is it easier for you to speak in English or Korean? I always answer with either one. It really doesn't matter. Because, like, if I'm talking with somebody who's speaking in Korean, I speak back in Korean.
Well, that's
But
natural,
someone
right?
prefers English. I don't really have a preference. In this case, like where do I belong? Asian or
No,
like
you
Indian?
don't. You definitely don't belong in it. Like I said earlier,
Yeah.
it's really like you dislike speaking in English, and it's generally people who've gone into their like who've lived in foreign countries till their teens and moved over. That's when you
Yeah.
get the biggest like the biggest they have the most resistance to change. Like people like say, I don't know, they're 10 and they move. They'll start to feel more comfortable with English as they get older. But
Mhm.
I know people who are like that. But then there's people who move over when they're like 17, right? And you can already just like think about the difference, right? A 17-year-old is much less open to change than a 10-year-old is.
Yeah. I feel like it also comes down to this question. Like, where would you rather live? Would you rather live in Canada or would you rather live in like your home Asian country? You know? Because that kind of signifies like where you're more comfortable in, right?
Well, let's go through. Did we ask Moon all
Oh
five
yeah.
questions? Let's go
Yo,
through
wait,
that.
let me finish my 5 questions first. So the first one is a no. The second one, people I correlate with. I'd say I'd say Asian. Yeah, that's Asian. Music taste is definitely English for me. I listen to a lot more English music than
Mm-hmm.
Korean
Food.
music. Food. Uh, for food, I'm very. I'd love to eat anything. Like I can eat anything, but at home, because my parents are Korean, we mostly eat Korean food.
And then
But
reading and writing is English.
reading and writing definitely English. I can sparsely read and write Korean and speak it, but it's like less than elementary level.
Hey, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Moon,
Yes.
we shall ask you the 5 questions.
Oh, 5 questions. Okay.
Have you been to your country of origin? Like, have you
Well,
experienced it?
I mean, as I explained previously, yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
How about your friends?
Uh, well, depends on how you define friends.
People you're acquaintances with. That. How about
Acquaintances.
that?
Yeah, okay.
Ah, well, I'm the type of person who's in this situation where I do not have flexibility of like being able to have choose the type of people that I want to hang out with. If I had that ability, like a bigger range of choices, it would have been a different answer, but for now it's mostly I guess it's mostly wait, actually it's like 50-50 between Asians and non-Asians.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Music.
I listen to all type of musics. I listen to
Food.
like oh okay. Okay, well if we're gonna move on to food, then I guess I don't talk about music. Food, all type of food.
Yo, but like what food are you most
So you
like
guys are
we're
not
not
interested in music, but you guys are interested in
No,
food.
no, no, no. Like even music. Which one are you most like which one do you listen to most?
The most.
Yes.
Oh, does it have to be like country specific?
No, no, just
Mm,
Asian or non-Asian.
Oh, Asian or non-Asian?
yeah, that's the question.
If I had to choose, then it's Asian.
How about food?
Food. Oh, eat Asian most of the times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read, write, speak.
Well, like, I speak English more frequently than Korean because I just do not have uh opportunities or like just
So then would you rather speak Korean?
I as I did say before that if someone asked me like would you rather speak English or Korean, I would say I don't know because it really doesn't matter. So my answer is I do not have a preference
Are
and I
you
can't
like
choose.
fluent in reading, writing, and speaking Korean then?
I'm only fluent in speaking Korean and reading Korean, but I do have difficulty in writing Korean. Oh,
All right.
um,
Okay, that's
yeah.
fair.
Nobody write Korean unless they're, taking classes in Korean, don't they?
Makes
True.
sense. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And I really didn't take any Korean classes before, so.
Not even when you're in Korea?
But that's like I can write in Korean, not fluent, is what I was saying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that other question that was before the 5 questions? Something to do with
Are you more American or Asian?
No, 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 no. When we stopped our train of thought to finish your questions, there was another one. It was about we'll get back to it if I think about it.
Yeah. I think a topic I kind of want to talk about here is when when you see an Asian in like the United States, they're automatically labeled as an Asian American. Does everybody kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you see an Asian here, you don't really think Asian Canadian. You don't label them as Asian Canadian. You just see them as Asian.
Depends on who I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, but like if you're walking down the street, let's say you're in an area where there's like multiple Asian people, you don't go like, oh, everybody here is Asian Canadian.
Oh,
But
yeah,
in
for sure.
yeah, but in the
Oh yeah, we
US,
don't really have a label.
exactly. But in the US, anytime you see a Asian down there, you'd be like Asian American, and that's the same with like African American.
Yeah.
It's not just Asians, right? Every like it's like a white American. Like what the hell is white American? Um,
That's just American, bro.
yeah, right. Or European What the European American? Like right? There's like these labels in the United
Well,
States, but
well, well, I think the way you have to look at it is in the United States, you're in you're like a smoothie. Everyone gets blended together. Whereas over here in the north, you know, it's harder to blend everyone together.
I
Like
think that has
the culture here is
I
not to
feel like
have
we're more
everyone
diverse.
we don't assimilate is basically what I'm trying to say.
yeah. So do you think it like there's like this being like patriotism or something?
Nationalism?
Yeah,
Definitely. Americans are known for their
We definitely have less. We definitely have
yeah,
way less.
yeah. I think that's kind of interesting to see, even though we're like,
bro, even our media is dominated by American media, even though we're in Canada.
yeah.
Like, I bet everybody knows about Trump and Biden, but nobody knows about Trudeau. Like,
Well, people know about Trudeau, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I guess. And there's actually people in the United States that don't even know that Canada exists.
oh,
I'm not even making that up.
do you guys like live in igloos and stuff?
No, 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 not even that. They don't know that the country Canada exists.
Well, I mean that's probably pretty exaggerated. Like there's people all over the world who don't know a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, no, but it's an actual fact. There was a university course that one of the teachers that I know actually went to, and the teacher said, "Okay, here's a world map. Place these names of countries into the correct place," and they put Canada there. And then the teacher that I know was like, "Haha, very funny," and he's like, "No, some of these kids actually just don't know that Canada exists.
Oh my god.
I'm not even making it up."
Well, I mean, some people
It's because they never learn it in their system.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, that has nothing to do with this. But yeah,
like think about the that war where like Canada in like most wars Canada's just there, and for us it's like, oh, Canada was there. For everyone else it's like,
Oh,
What the fuck is
was
Canada? Like,
It's just like, yeah, it's like when you look at history of Canada, like Canada has a history. What?
yeah, but that's
Yeah.
it. That's not for today.
Yeah. So it kind of ties into like, so the what do you see yourself with, and
That's true.
right,
I
and
have I have a really interesting question.
yeah.
As a Asian Canadian, do you think Asian Canadian males or Asian Canadian females have it easier?
Oh, that's
And
an
it's
interesting.
it's it's that's interesting, yeah, because you
I'm
never
not
really
really sure.
think about it.
Like in terms of like general acceptance, right?
Hmm. I can't really answer this because my answer always goes to like the more Canadian you are, the more accepted you will be. That's my general rule of thumb, you know?
Uh-huh. That
And
makes
I've never
sense.
associated that with like gender before.
Uh-huh.
How about you, Ben? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really think about that. Like whether I kind of like I don't even look at male or female. I just look at Asians, like Asians compared to other races. When I think of like, oh, there's kind of like discrimination here, or like they're treated differently here. I never look at guys or girls. I kind of just look
Hmm.
at them both as Asian.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
I think that's a good point. Like, have you guys experienced any discrimination personally as an Asian Canadian or Asian American in Moon's case?
Well, I have a really long story about this, but I think other people can give their input first, just for some
Okay.
perspective.
How about Moon? What's your experience with discrimination?
Oh, discrimination. I mean, I can recall from like this conversation I had with somebody who was I think it was a white male around like 20 years old. And he was asking me after I introduced myself as a Korean, he was asking me, "Oh, did you came from north or south?" And I was like,
Oh yeah, I
what?
get that question a lot.
Yeah. I think all Koreans get this question. And I just thought for like 30 seconds because for the first 10 seconds, I was really pissed at that guy for even asking such a dumb question. But I soon realized that even if I like, even if I get like, if I swear at him, he's not gonna change. So I thought of a creative way to make him feel uncomfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, it depends on you, you know?
Oh.
Depending on how you act around me, I can be north or I
Oh,
can be south,
okay,
you know?
What?
okay,
What?
Do you not
What?
understand, Mark?
oh shit,
I
okay.
mean,
Like,
that would definitely make me uncomfortable, but it also make me very confused.
I think I'm more
I
Okay.
know.
confused than
I
anything.
mean, well, I mean, if I came from North Korea, you wouldn't be there.
My God, okay,
That's like
but
that was my intention, like to make him uncomfortable for, discriminating me without noticing, I guess. I don't think he was conscious of the fact that he was kind of like being stereotypical, or I don't know. How should you call that?
Insensitive. That's
Yeah,
the word.
insensitive.
I don't think
Mm.
it's discriminatory, but it's definitely insensitive.
yeah, it's kind of you have to be careful with like asking all of those kind of questions now, because anytime somebody comes up like, "Oh, you're Asian," I'm like, "Yes, I'm Asian." Like, okay, what Asian are you?
That's my favorite question, actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the question of like I'm pretty sure 100% of
We
Asian
asked
people
it.
get asked.
We just
Like, oh,
asked it
so what?
today.
Yeah, I was like, what part of Asia are you from? Like, well, so it's like I would say Japan, but if like let's say you're born in Canada, right? So in Mark's case, you're like born in Canada. I was like, what? Where are you from? Like, I'm from Canada. It's like, no. Where are you from? Like, bitch, I'm telling you, I'm from Canada. Shut the fuck up. Like, honestly. And
Yeah.
then like, no. Like, what Asia are you from? Like,
No, honey, what?
no, the Asia on another planet. What?
No, what?
Like,
For
like,
people who aren't born in Canada, the most frequently asked like not questions but like statements are like, "Oh, you're really good at English." Like
Oh, that's
it's
true.
oh my god,
impressive.
I get that. Yeah.
And like whenever they say, "Oh, you're actually really fluent in English," I just be like, "You too, sir. You're amazing. Your English is amazing. It's beautiful." Like
One thing, actually, I've experienced the opposite. Like, everybody knows I'm way more Canadian culturally than Korean. So, like, when Koreans talk to me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're actually good at Korean." I'm like,
Wait, I get that as well. It's like I didn't know you could speak Chinese. I was like, excuse me? Like
Me?
what?
Who do you think I am?
And it's like and it's just like such a crazy thing. Like when I'm in China, I don't know, I don't look any different, right? And every time, like even like random people like I talk to like at fast food places, like, wow, you speak very good Chinese. I was like, yes, I do.
they
Like,
can just tell
what,
you're different.
what do you want from me? Like, but and that really gets me because it just like I feel different no matter where I am.
Yeah.
Like there, it's just like, wow, your Chinese is so good. Here, it's like
Mm.
it's like, wow,
And I think the
you're
people
Chinese. Like,
Yeah, I think people that aren't Asian and have never had that kind of like interaction with another person think that's like, oh, I don't care, I don't care. Because I've actually asked this question to like my non-Asian friends, and they're like, oh, I would be like, I wouldn't care, I would just tell them, and it's like, well, yeah, but it kind of gets
like what?
annoying,
Like your non-Asian friends, as in like other ethnicities, or like?
just white.
Oh, okay.
Just white, right? And they're like, oh yeah, like they don't understand what that's like.
Well, can you really blame them?
Yeah, and exactly. I don't blame them. That's why those people that was asked those kind of questions, they don't understand what it's like getting asked that question like,
Every
10,000
day.
times. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, well, first of all, why does that matter, right? And like if you're just some rando on the street, and I'm not trying to get to know you, why the fuck do you care?
Well, I like asking that question, because it's interesting, and I can never tell honestly. Actually, sometimes I know, but
Yeah.
for some people, you're just like,
Yeah, you ever like walk down the street and you're like your parent or you're like they just know where they're from. They'll just be like, oh yeah, that person's Chinese, or oh yeah, that person's Korean. I'm like, how do you know this?
well, I know I can tell the difference for some people, but there are some people who I really can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
Because there are some really prominent
Mm.
features
yeah,
that if you
Mhm.
like but like for most people, like Asians all look the same, but they don't, right?
yeah,
But then for Asian people, like all white people, all like all other ethnicities, they all look the same. Like,
yeah.
so it goes both ways,
Yeah,
right?
but it's
Yeah.
interesting because it just proves like how strong our visual sense is and how we use that to organize people into different
And
categories,
segregate.
Yeah, but like it's also interesting for like white people because they're like white people who are culturally ingrained in their own culture. They're like, pure French people, or like, people who come from a specific place in Europe. They're not like, oh, I'm from like 7 different countries. I have 2% African blood, and I'm also like 1% Vietnamese, and then those people who are basically like
Yeah.
everything, or some people who've lived in Canada there for like generations, so they don't really know what
Yeah, they're like third or
country
fourth.
they're from anymore.
Yeah, they're
But
like third or
you-
fourth generation down.
yeah, but like some white cultures like are pure in their own culture, like
Yep.
Irish. My girlfriend is Czech. She's pure Czech from the Czech Republic, and she's
You're cutting out, Joe. Hello, Joe?
he's cutting out. Oh gosh.
Joe's a robot. But da de oo e oo er. Da
person.
da
Yes,
And
that's
she
a
did,
nationality.
like,
That's
Oh,
your nationality.
sorry.
Wait.
Back to that. Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, just cut that part out. Okay. Where did I start? Dying?
No, we're keeping that in.
That's hilarious.
No, what the fuck? Okay. Anyways.
My God.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
she's Czech and
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's from the Czech Republic and she's grown up as a Czech person, like culturally.
uh-huh.
And she's received, well, she hasn't openly received discrimination, but she did feel culturally isolated while growing up in Canada because her parents were immigrants too.
Really?
Yeah, because like her food's different and people go like, oh, what country are you from? And she's like, oh, I'm from the Czech Republic. And they're like, what, where's that? So
I
it's
honestly didn't
prominent.
know where that was. If you guys watch
Yeah,
the other ones,
exactly,
you know
right?
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So although many different cultures have that kind of experience, I feel like because we're visibly Asian, we have that it's just more obvious, because if you're white, people automatically assume that you're culturally in the country, like for example Canadian, right? So we do have that visual restraint that some cultures don't,
True. Makes sense.
which I find really interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll talk about discrimination.
Yes. Your
Oh, yeah.
long story. Let's hear it.
It's very
Let's hear
long. Okay. So, I play hockey, right?
Okay.
And as we all know, it's really predominantly Caucasian sport, okay, or white, whatever you like more. And throughout my life, it's been really weird, cause when I was like smaller, I mean, I grew up in a small neighborhood, very predominantly white. My neighbors are great people. I love talking to them, but
Yeah.
it's a really white lifestyle, And
Mhm.
before I got older, cuz I only started really appreciating the Asian side of me when I was around 13, around the time I hit puberty. And before that, I was playing hockey, I was at the park, rode my bike, all this stuff, all that jazz, stuff you see in the movies of like those suburbans, right? Suburban lifestyle, pretty basic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but the thing that always got me was like when I was playing hockey, I've experienced a lot of like open discrimination and not so open discrimination. I've been called racial slurs. You guys all know the slur. I'm not gonna say it, but that's happened. But the moment that stood out to me the most was when I was first entering like competitive hockey, so like rep hockey. So this is the first year it's ever been a thing, and so there's tryouts. I went through them, and I was put onto the B team's camp, and then I got cut from the B team. Okay, and from like anyone's perspective, it's like, okay, you just weren't good enough, right? Like you're just bad, right? Like you just suck. Okay, sure, fair enough. But the thing that really just stood out was like I myself knew I was better than some of those people on the B team. And that's like really narcissistic of me. Like, oh, you think you're so good, but you're probably just trash. No, listen. So when you get cut from like both, like you get twice, they give you your ranking in the tryouts. Okay, you get because they rank you, and then you get put on a team. There's 16 people on a team in hockey. Overall, I was ranked 15 out of like everybody. So I was ranked high enough.
About how many people?
Like, I don't know. There's like probably like 70 people.
Okay.
I was ranked 16. That was enough for me to be on the A team, but I was put onto the B team camp, and then I got cut from the B team, right? Of
Yeah.
course, you know, who knows what the reason was, but from all what you can infer, I'm literally the only Asian kid there, like the
Mhm.
only one. There's no one else. It was like that for like a few years actually. Like in the entire association, out of all the people, I was the only one, and it's like that just felt like that just felt like discrimination right there, right? But
Yeah,
obviously,
because you're ranked 15.
yeah, but like maybe they just didn't like me. I don't know. But like, why? What reason would you have to not like me? I'm like a 10-year-old kid. Like, what did I do to you? Like, it's not like I was a bad person. Like, I was really
Yeah.
hardworking, right? I ranked high. Actually, I got one of the like that was my average. Like, two people ranked me like one person ranked me 11, one person ranked me 12. The other one was like 16, and the other one was 17. So that averaged around to like 15.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But that was still like, and I got cut twice. I was playing house, and
Oh
you know,
man.
and I don't honestly, I think it was a good thing. Like looking back on
Why?
it, I've really grown from the experience. I also got to play at an NHL stadium. It's
Oh.
recorded. Yeah, I don't know. I scored like 4 goals that game. It was a
Bro.
curb stomp. Honestly, me being in house, it just wasn't fair for anybody else. Like I felt bad. Anyways, next year, right? And it's because, and the reason why there's so many kids is because it's between 2 years each. It's like, so it's like so it's like it's like you play with people a year older than you, and the next year you play with people a year younger than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the kids a year older have like a year advantage, and I still ranked high, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next year I get put right onto the A team, right? The guy who was playing house and got cut from the B team is now on the A team.
Yeah,
How crazy
that-
is that? Because
that makes sense.
it's a different coach, and that's why. And
Yeah.
also my
Okay.
parents went and complained to the
Yeah, but see
association.
that kind of solidifies the statement that like this was not because of my skill. This was more has to do with something else, and yeah, most likely
And
race.
I rode off that wave of motivation and I realized that in order for me to get treatment that I deserved, I had to be literally objectively just way better than everyone, right?
Yeah.
And the furthest I went peaked when I was like 14, you know, provincial, like it's a provincial tournament, so 160 kids, like the best players in the province, you go play for a weekend, and I was like 10th overall for defense, because that's like the position I played. And I don't know, that just made me feel so achieved. I was like, I've gone this far. I got offered a scholarship to go play at a boarding school, but I didn't want to go
Oh
there.
damn.
But
Yo,
then
that's sick.
you just got to think back to that 1 year where I got cut from the B team. And me looking back now, it's just like look at me and look at you. Like your kid, you put him on the A team every year, even though he's trash. He never got better. You kept putting him there, and look at him now. He's still trash, right? Nothing's changed. He's still bad at the game, right? And me, the kid you cut from the B team, is doing infinitely better, right? And it's just like, and that's the motivation from this kind of stuff. And
Fair
and
enough.
that's why I feel like it's not a bad experience, because now that I've experienced it, it's not gonna hurt me nearly as much if something like that happens ever again.
Mm. But my question is, have you guys ever openly experienced discrimination?
Like racial
someone, like-
slurs.
Yeah, like someone
Yes.
goes. and
Well, yeah,
talks to
I've
you,
been
like,
called
go back
racial
to your home
slurs.
country.
Yes.
like-
Yes.
I mean, it's not
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me more about that. Tell me more
well,
about that.
literally COVID. It's not. It's not like a
Well,
huge thing. It's
even
just, like,
before that,
well, yeah. I started receiving it more during COVID. And even before that, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I don't really care. But like when COVID started happening, it's just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well,
And
before
it's
that,
like,
like me being in a sport like this, like all the time, I'd just be lined up, waiting for the puck drop, and some kid would just whisper in my ear the racial slur, and I'm just like, nice. Like, do you feel accomplished? Then I'd fucking
Destroy him.
destroy him, and then he'd go to the hospital. That actually happened. But
Bro. Yo.
but
he's a bitch.
yeah, and I mean, I didn't even get a penalty for that, so because it was clean.
Bro.
He's a tiny kid. I don't know. He didn't have business saying that to me. I was
Being
like,
tiny and saying racial slurs, like,
I was
bro,
like-
you about to
I know
get like
you're
I
kind
was
of
like
rocked.
187
you might-
pounds. Like, I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. Like, anyways,
Yeah, but like since COVID has started like happening, you don't even hear much on the news, even like about racial stuff that are happening towards Asians since the start of COVID.
what about you two, Joe and Moon?
I want to hear Moon's experiences.
My experiences?
Yeah, with racial discrimination because you're Asian.
Oh, racial. Oh, I think the most shocking one was like back in elementary school. I don't know if it was shocking because it was just that serious or probably more because like I was young back then. But you know how in elementary you have to pack your own lunch?
Yeah.
School? So I brought like Korean kimchi and like rice and stuff like that to elementary. And kimchi actually smells like it doesn't smell bad, but it smells
Strong.
a lot. Yeah, strong.
Because it
You
is
know
a
what I
fermented food.
Yeah, so like once I open like my lunch, people around me get to smell that like kimchi smell, and people made fun of me of what I was eating. And I think that was like the most openly like kind of what's it called? Discrimination? No, wait, that's not discrimination. Is it discrimination?
It's racism.
It's racism. I ain't getting confused. Yeah, never mind. I do not remember discrimination like right now.
Same difference when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Racism is
similar
basically
enough.
racism is basically just you're discriminating someone because of their race or something. That's basically what racism is.
Yeah, so I think that's fair for you to say.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience just with the food in elementary school. Like people would go like, "Ew, what's that?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like
I was
although as a kid, like I didn't really understand what it meant, but I did feel hurt. And looking back, I understand like, oh, it's a culture thing, right? Because I'm different, and you guys have your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. Even to this day, like I still like even to the day I still have lunches, like Asian lunches. And I mean,
Well,
obviously
I
now
feel a lot more
it's
comfortable with that now. But as a kid, I was like, I even once like asked my mom specifically, "Can you like get me something like spaghetti or something?" Because the kids
yeah,
are
I
like,
think I did the same too. I was like, "Hey, can you just make me like a sandwich like the other kids?" And like I asked them, but like obviously now because of like the times that we're living in, nobody is gonna like come up to me and like judge me on that. But like
yeah,
people,
but like kids, especially as kids, you just don't know any better because you've grown up in that kind of household, and you're at school, and then there's this like different looking kid with different looking food, and you don't like the smell of his food, so that can happen, and they just don't know better sometimes, right? Especially when you're in like grade 2. How much do you really know about the world? But nonetheless, it's still kind of
pretty sure the only green food that they eat is like green candy.
Well, kids are a reflection of their parents as well, so
That is
That's
entirely true.
hmm yeah. Other than that, I feel like I'm lucky not to have experienced like open discrimination, like as growing up, other than the food experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Tell me more about yours, Ben.
Me,
Because you talked about COVID, right? Like how
well,
it's.
because so I'll be walking down like at a beach or something, and I'll be walking with like a maybe like two other Asian friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll either get looked at weird or get told to like move away or something like
Was
that.
I there? I think I was there for that.
You were probably there. And then the next day, literally the next day, I'm walking down the street with a bunch of white friends, and nobody says anything. And I'm kind of going, okay, I guess some people are different and all, but like this is just blatantly obvious. Like, what? Like, I'm pretty sure. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure those people wouldn't have said anything. It was just a bunch of white people because I have people behind me walking when I'm walking with my Asian friends. Like I have people behind me that are like closer than we were to these people, and they're just like they don't say shit. I'm going, well, okay, whatever. And it's just like, well,
And was that during COVID?
yeah, no, COVID's still going on, but yeah,
Well, like yeah. Like was it during COVID though? The
yeah,
experience. Oh.
yeah. I was wearing a mask. I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't so close to them. It was we were at a beach and we were walking down a path. It was out in the open. It wasn't like we were inside or anything. So there was no reason to like yeah, be safe and all, but
Hmm.
and they weren't wearing a mask either. So I'm going, what the fuck?
So yeah. How about like before COVID? Because obviously,
Well, before COVID, like
discrimination against Asians has been perpetuated because of COVID-19 originating from China, and people think of Asians differently. Like some people might have the audacity to think like, oh, like you guys caused this. Like, bro, no, we were here. Like we did nothing, right? But
yeah.
how about before all of this?
COVID, I never really felt like I was always like I was always there was never really another Japanese person in my school. So I kind of think that like ties into the fact that I always kind of felt alone, and
Oh,
I never had like the stuff like, oh, I'm being discriminated against. It really amplified in COVID though. Before
oh,
that, I never really thought about it.
All right, I think that about wraps it up for today.
Yeah.
We're the Rice Guys, and that's it.